Hey, everyone, it's a little late in the evening, but I said I was going to make a video, and I am very appreciative. I'm very pleasantly surprised. Thank you, both Cullen Co-op, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, Evan Max's Cars. I really appreciate both of your comments on the last video I did earlier today, um, asking for, suggestions and topics or questions. Really quick, I want to just state, I wouldn't say I'm like irritated, but our AA meeting, there's no time limit, there's no cap, and it ended up going for like 2 hours, and then everyone's still around talking for like another hour. But I'm not really too like annoyed with that because although I'm quite tired and wanting to go home, I think it was one of those evenings where a lot of people needed that additional time to really share their stories and kind of what was on their minds. And I'm still glad to go, and be part of that. It's a really great group of people. So I just want to just kind of verbalize that really quick. So if I seem a little irritated in the video, I do apologize. Yeah, thank you both. So Colin, I'll you guys kind of posted about the same time, but I will address your comment first. Definitely agree. Thank you. I have heard the same thing, that longer videos are typically more visible. Especially, I don't know if it's the same metrics, but I know around past the 10-minute mark is ideal. So I do try to do that, especially if I'm talking on a certain topic. I do have a lot to talk about, so I try to go for a little longer than 10 minutes. Evan, yeah, I definitely agree with the custom thumbnails. That's one thing I've thought of. I need to figure out. I'm not very creative. I know a decent amount about computers in terms of troubleshooting basic problems or even sometimes advanced problems, but not like anything like coding or Photoshop or anything like that. So I'll have to watch like a YouTube tutorial or something of the sort, and see. But I definitely agree. I think some custom thumbnails, instead of the letting YouTube choose the thumbnail, which looking at them, half of them are like me like touching my head or having my hands up, which I think is funny. But yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think that's a great idea. So thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate the kind words too with keeping a positive attitude. I try. That's one thing that really helps me in my recovery, is to stay positive. And also, I believe it's part of the cognitive behavioral therapy, but reframing is a powerful tool for myself. So, like for the AA meeting this evening, for example, I could sit here and be old pissy pants, be like, oh, it took way longer than it should have, and blah, 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 blah. But, usually you can spin most events or even thoughts into something positive, and I find that to be extremely helpful. So, thank you. So yeah, I did want to answer or kind of address both your comments, like I said. So for your question was, do you think having a room to yourself or sharing a room is better when recovering from addiction? I think it really depends on the individual. I was at an Oxford house for 6 weeks, and then I was kicked out because I did drink. And one of the rules of Oxford housing is, upon relapse, you have 15 minutes to grab as much stuff as you can, leave, and then you can come back at another time to get the rest of your stuff, of course, when you're not intoxicated. Now, I wasn't intoxicated. I hate to say it, really the only reason why I came clean was because I had a positive UA through the court system. I could have asked them if, they'd be cool with me not bringing that up, but even if that was the case, I mean, that just wouldn't be beneficial to my recovery. It's just a shame that my honesty, I've been working hard on trying to be as honest and transparent as possible. I'm getting better at it day by day. But still, I mean, that was middle of February of this year, 2022. And that's my first thought is, well, maybe I could ask them and see if we can kind of sweep this under the rug so I could stay here. But no, I did come clean though, and I didn't even ask my mental health court PO if I could do that. I did let them know. So I wasn't intoxicated at the time, but still their policy states, 15 minutes, grab your stuff, leave. Then you can come back later when you're not under the influence, of course. So the 6 weeks I was there, it was a 7-man house, including myself. I shared a room with one other roommate. Well, let me just say in general, I guess to preface too, so now I'm in a different sober living house. This is not an Oxford house. Instead, it's run by, or at least the overhead is by one of the treatment organizations here in the city I live in. And it's pretty much an Oxford house, except there's a few minor differences. It's a little more laissez-faire. It's a little more lax. If you leave like a cup in the sink for more than 10 minutes, you're not going to get fined. But we still have chores. We still have a weekly meeting. I don't know if there's any requirements for, a minimum amount of external support groups like AA or NA in addition to attending your treatment. But I've been doing about 4 meetings a week just for my own benefit. So I don't know there, but I think with Oxford, they do require at least 2 meetings a week to kind of fulfill that obligation. And also with Oxford Housing, there's membership positions. So there's like house president, there's the comptroller, someone that's like kind of in charge of assigning the chores and making sure that those are carried out. There's the HSR, which is the house something representative. They're in charge of taking in or reviewing the applications and interviewing people if there's any empty beds, and then the house votes on whether or not they want to accept that person. So there's no positions here. There's a housing supervisor, but it is pretty democratic as well here, compared to the Oxford housing. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to preface that. So at the Oxford house, I was living with one roommate. It was good for the most part. I mean, we didn't really like fight or argue or anything like that. So that was nice. I will say that both there and here, you certainly have to compromise, sometimes a little bit, sometimes a lot. At the previous Oxford house, my roommate snored a ton. And sometimes even audible with earplugs in. So, that was kind of a pain in the ass, but we got along for the most part. And the silver lining with that was he slept through anything. So I didn't have to be like discreet or quiet whenever he was sleeping. I still tried my best to, but I didn't have to like really worry about him waking up and be like, what the hell, dude? Why are you on your computer at 2 a.m. or whatever? But so that was nice. And then here, there's a little bit more compromise. Like I like the cold. My roommate likes the heat, so he has a heater going. But I compromise by keeping one of the windows open. Right now, I only have one roommate in this bedroom. However, there are 2 bunk beds, so it is a potential or a capacity of 4 guys. I'm very thankful that it's only 1 right now, and it has been 1 so far. Just because 4 is a lot. I mean, well, it's not a very big. I believe that this was a 2-car garage that was converted into a bedroom. So, just imagine about the size of a 2-car garage. But we still managed to compromise. He's a bit more of a light sleeper, so I can't. It's a little tough because I don't sleep very well throughout the whole night. I wake up and eat snacks and stuff like that, and there has been some occasions to where I've woken him up, and even once where he wasn't able to go back to sleep, and he wasn't very enthused about that, understandably. And then there's been times where his alarm goes off and wakes me up. But for the most part, it's good. So I know that's not directly answering your question. I kind of just wanted to present some of the challenges or things that one might face in shared living. As far as having my own, like a bedmate, whether that's one or I guess I can't speak to more than one other person other than myself, but I found it helpful. And honestly, it's even if I didn't, it's the price to pay. I think it's a worthwhile price to pay for living in shared sober living because right now, especially this early in my recovery and with the extent of my addiction, I really need the accountability. I tried so hard. I was so resistant to moving out of my one bedroom apartment, but I had to because I just kept relapsing and really not working towards my recovery as I wanted to. So it is really nice just living in shared living, even if I have to share a bedroom. But it's also kind of nice sharing a bedroom because you do build a little bit more of an intimate relationship with your your bedmate. I guess I'll say I call the other guys my housemates to kind of differentiate. But yeah, you build a bit more of an intimate relationship. So I'm really thankful for that. Sorry, I'm a little spacey. I probably should do this video another time, but hopefully this will answer the question. I can do it a little succinctly. So that's really nice, especially in the context of additional accountability, because I mean, I hate to say it, I probably could sneak like beer in here and drink like past a certain time at night if I was alone, and run a pretty low risk of being found out. And I know that sounds shitty, but that's just kind of truthfully, it's just a matter of fact. And that's what I would do. That's how severe my addiction would be. So, having someone else here right now, he's gone for the week. Unfortunately, he had a funeral to attend. But when he's here, I mean, I can't do that even like when he's asleep because he might wake up and, hey, what's that can of beer doing here? Or hey, I smell alcohol. Whereas if I had the bedroom to myself, I wouldn't, as long as I didn't leave, I could easily drink a pretty decent amount, stay here, and then go to bed and wake up and be fine. It's especially nice having a shared room. But again, the most important thing for me is just the shared sober living. I'm hoping to eventually, as guys reach their time limit here, which is 2 years. Oxford, you have a limited time. You don't have to leave as long as you're don't relapse and doing everything you need to do. But I'm hoping that as guys eventually get to the end of their time, I can get one of the single bedrooms, and I'll really look forward to that. It's been kind of nice having the room to myself for this week. So hopefully that answers your question. I mean, again, like I said in the last video, I mean, if there's anything else that you'd like more of a description or like explanation, I'm more than happy to. I really enjoy making these videos and I really appreciate the interactions in the comments. So Cullen, hopefully that answers that question for you. And again, thank you for the kind words. Max's Cars, I've spoken with you a few times in comments on YouTube, and I really appreciate you reaching out and kind of following this channel. As far as your suggestion goes, yeah, I think the tags would be helpful. I need to read up a little bit more on them because when I post the videos with the tags section, it says like only tags are really necessary like if you're gonna type out the misspelled words as tags, but I think that's assuming that I have the correct spelling of the words in the title, like you said too, because if someone looks up nitrous oxide and it's in my title, they're more likely to find it. But I think with the tags, if I were to include like other cinnamon, similar words for nitrous or just misspellings of nitrous, that might also kind of catch people that don't spell it correctly. But I need to look into that, read a little bit more into that. But I definitely agree. I think that's a fantastic suggestion. So thank you very much. Um, so I was thinking about this on the car ride home because I did check my comments on my phone while I was in the bathroom there. And I kind of thought on the car ride home about some of the crazy things. I'll have to expand on this on future videos, but a few ones that really came to mind. What I will say first is, as I continue to abuse the nitrous, the visual and auditory hallucinations became less and less, and it was more. It shifted to more of a change in my perception of reality. It was kind of almost like a dimensional hallucination. That's the best way I can think of describing it right now. So it wasn't so much that I was seeing or hearing things, but it was more like I was being transported into some sort of spatial dimension. And then, of course, I carried with the grandiosity and the delusions I had. It always felt like I was on the tip of an epiphany, like I was reaching into the world beyond this world, like when we die and, interacting or just doing things that a normal human probably wouldn't be able to do. And again, I know that's just chemicals altering my neurochemistry, but it does make me still wonder to this day, if there was more to it than that, because I definitely did ride that line between life and death much more narrowly than one usually does in day-to-day life. Considering I was going hours without much oxygen, and another thing too, I'll say too, is as I continue to abuse it and my tolerance became higher and higher, I stopped blacking out. When I first started, or even like a little bit into it, I would kind of black out and like have like almost like a dream. But as I kept going, I would stop blacking out, and it would just be kind of more of a alteration of what I'm currently experiencing, rather than blacking out and having like stuff happen in like that subconscious or unconscious mindset with no ability on my part to interact with it like I could, like, in the real world. But in the beginning, a lot of my hallucinations and even delusions were, it was definitely hyper religious. It was very religious focused. Particularly with like demons, devil, just demonic type stuff. In the midst of doing nitrous, I've had my whole living room. I was on the couch for some of the times, would just like totally just become this like black and red, like it would just totally shapeshift. There was a time that I was using nitrous while I had after consumed a pretty decent amount of cough syrup and Benadryl. Both of those can cause hallucinations on their own. And it was really interesting. The whole room like twisted. It wasn't like my vision twisted. It was the room itself. It was like as if... oh man, it's just hard to describe all these. Like it's just a bending of space-time fabric. Of course, again, most likely just a change in my perception, of course, because of the influence of substances, but still makes me wonder. But one really like interesting one that I had, again, I was on the couch and I was doing it, and I was kind of halfway between that like dream world, that blacked out world where I couldn't interact, and this world. And it was super crazy. I was holding a dispenser and I was kind of frozen in place, and on one side was like this white light, angels. They didn't have a rope, but essentially it was kind of like a tug of rope. So they were kind of I'm in the middle with my soul, myself, and they're trying to pull me on that side, and then on the other side is kind of that black and that red and more demonic type figures, and they're kind of pulling. So it was interesting. It was like I was being kind of pulled, like it was a tug of war essentially. Um, it's interesting because I mean, if you think about it, a lot of us, I mean, we are in a constant tug of war with our consciousness. We for the most part we know what's good and what's bad, or at least the values we assign to them. Like, oh, I shouldn't steal, that's bad. I should help people, that's good. But of course, we're battling ourselves, at least with addiction, especially in mental health. We're battling ourselves to try to do the right thing, but it's just so tempting to do the not right thing because it's easier or it gets us what we want. So, I mean, it's at the very least like a visual representation, a visual analog of that kind of idea. But just super interesting. And then I have, also just like seeing spirits or souls or just some abstract things kind of coming through and in and out of my bedroom walls, but very minimally. So that's kind of the prevalent visual ones that come to mind. Again, I'll have to, especially when I'm more rested, maybe do more about this. I know I talked in a previous video that I want to write stuff down, so I have more of a script to go by. But I also did experience auditory hallucinations. For me, most of them were female, or they sounded feminine. I don't know if anyone else has experienced auditory hallucinations, and I'm sure it's different person to person, especially in the circumstances, whether that's from schizophrenia or from substances. But it was, I wouldn't say scary, but excuse me, I keep like hiccuping. Wouldn't say it was scary. It was like more eerie. It felt and sounded like someone was whispering in my ears. So it was completely different than the voice in our head. When we think to ourselves, it was almost, it was like as if it was external from my body that someone was speaking into my ear. It really escapes me what was said. But for the most part, it was a kind voice. I don't remember if it said like something. It just kind of, I can't quite know that. I don't remember the exact details of what was said, but it was positive in nature. It was loving. It made me feel, like watched after in a way. But other than that, I've heard like some growls and stuff too. That might have very well been. Well, actually, no, it was kind of like a demonic or dragon type growl, so it wasn't like a dog growling. So I was gonna say, or say maybe it was from one of the next door neighbors, their dog growling. But no, it was definitely something that wouldn't be heard from a normal animal. But yeah, so hopefully that answers some of that. Again, I'll have to talk more about it. But I'm sure you can relate to what I'm talking about, where, yeah, every balloon or every cartridge, or especially once you go kind of deep into that, when it hits you, it's just like it teleports you or just transports you to this whole different dimension or thinking, or you're just like on the verge of just finding out the meaning of life and all these secrets. But then it's like, then you just come down and like, you remember like the profoundness of it, or perceived profoundness, because again, looking back, I mean, none of this shit helped me. It just ended up ruining my life. And I'm not going to blame the substance for that. My belief is substances it's just a fact of life. It is what it is. Whether it's a tool, so it can be used for good and it can be used for bad. And I thought I was chasing the good, but I was just digging my grave deeper and deeper. But yeah, so you would come out of that and you would remember the profoundness, but you couldn't remember why it was profound, or like what it was that you gained, which is super frustrating. And I might have hinted at this in prior videos, but that's what drove a lot of my the last bit of my binge, where I was just going through like over 1,000 canisters a day. Is I would be like in this like epiphany, and then I'd run out, and I'd be like, oh, I need it. I'm so close. and then go and get more and rinse and repeat. So that fed a lot of that use. So I'm gonna end it here. I'm not gonna stream. I'm gonna probably drink some sleepy time tea and then go to bed. I don't have IOP tomorrow, so I get to sleep in a little bit. But I do have a few things I need to do relatively early, so I can't sleep in that late, unfortunately. But it's fine. I should be keeping a pretty consistent sleep schedule anyways, as in part of an attempt to practice good sleep hygiene, but that's a topic for another video. So so again, thank you guys, both of you, for the comments, kind words, and suggestions. And then yeah, if you want me to talk about anything else, I'd be more than happy to share my experiences or kind of my input or just whatever. I don't know. It's just nice because it gives me something to kind of focus on. Because if it wasn't for those comments, I probably would have come home and been like, oh, it's too late. I'm too tired. I'm not going to make a video, or I don't know what to talk about. And while this video, I'm not as organized in thought and able to articulate as well as I would probably like to, even though it's kind of hard to articulate the stuff with hallucinations and delusions, I still want to make a video just because I kind of wanted to just put that out there. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope everyone ends up having a good night tonight, get some good sleep, and then, you know, can start Friday with a fresh mind and body. So I'm gonna try and post tomorrow. Yeah, so have a good night, everyone.